This video's for grown-ups, so all yins nebby kids go watch Ryan's World or something.
Welcome to Daddy J's Toy Box.
Hi everybody, I'm Daddy J and this is Daddy J's Toy Box. Meeting your childhood idols is a risky proposition. It's way too easy to get caught up in an actor or performer's public persona and then imagine that that's how they are in real life. And then when you see them separate from the character that you associate them with, and you hear them act or speak differently, it can be a little jarring.
I didn't know that it was based on the comic book, you know. Sorry, Robert.
Rick is British? This can be especially true at comic conventions and meet and greets, where the actors and actresses of our favorite movies, without cameras rolling, can shed that glossy veneer of stardom and act like real people. Sometimes too real.
Hey, how was the convention?
George Takei called me a So I was pretty nervous 2 years ago when I was going to meet one of my childhood idols, Mr. Dan Aykroyd. So I met Mr. Aykroyd as an adult. So I knew that actors were real people, and I didn't have any childlike notions that he was really a Ghostbuster. However, I had seen so many behind-the-scenes things over the years, from gag reels to production videos to interviews, that I thought I had a pretty good idea of who Dan Aykroyd really was. I figured he was a cheerful, intelligent, down-to-earth guy with a pleasant demeanor, maybe some crazy theories. Eccentric. Like my Uncle Carl. So when I heard he was coming to Pittsburgh to do a signing for his company, Crystal Head Vodka, man, I threw on my closest Ghostbusters shirt, grabbed my Hot Wheels Elite Ecto 1A model, and ran down to the liquor store. And you know what? I was absolutely right. That man is a treasure. So not only did he sign every single bottle of sold vodka, but he also had a little meet and greet with everyone, signed whatever you brought him, took pictures, stayed well past the time he was supposed to be there, and was great to talk to. Very funny and unpretentious, laughed at my stupid jokes, asked about me, and thanked me for being there. Me? No, sir. Thank you. Anyway, I say all this to say that Peter Venkman may be my favorite Ghostbuster, but Dan Aykroyd is definitely my favorite Ghostbuster actor. So let's see if Hasbro did him justice with the Ghostbusters Plasma Series Ray Stantz action figure. Let's bust this thing out and see what it's all about. Okay, let's take a look at Ray in the package here. So this is pretty much the same thing we got with the Peter Venkman figure. We got the jumpsuit motif on the box, lettering made to look like it was embroidered, patch, same thing. A good look at the figure and the accessories to the front window. On the side, we get this amazing Ghostbusters pop art piece, which I really love. Then on the back, instead of Peter being featured, now Ray's kind of popped up from the rest of the group with this wire that goes up here to the right up. Ray Stantz, it says, the heart of the team, Ray's ready and more than willing to bust some ghosts. So, looks great. On the top, you just kind of get a look at Ray's head there. On the bottom, you get the barcode and a little bit of legal write-up here. And then on the other side of the box, you get this proton pack art. So, pretty much exactly the same thing we saw with Peter. Let's do some plastic extraction and take a look at the figure. So Ray looks pretty awesome here. Definitely a step up from the Peter Venkman figure as far as the likeness goes. Still not perfect, but better. I have a few QC issues on mine. Everybody might not have these problems, but I'm going to point them out anyway. Sculpting looks great. So let's get him off the stand here and take a look at the accessories, and then we'll take a look at the figure. Okay, so let's take a look at the accessories that come with Ray. First off, of course, is the Proton Pack. Looking very nice. They did a lot of nice little details on this. I did a pretty thorough comparison in my last video between these Proton Packs and the ones that Mattel and Diamond selected when they had the license. So if you want a little bit more of a in-depth comparison, you can take a look at that video. It looks like on each Ghostbuster, they did a thing where they tried to paint each circle of the cyclotron differently on each figure. So it looks like it was revolving like it does in the movie. So on Ray's, you get this lower left-hand side painted. Although mine, it's definitely like splotched off of it's not centered in the circle where it is. It's off onto the other side of the Proton Pack, so I might have to fix that. I like the idea of doing that, so it kind of looks like it's cycling through, but execution-wise, it just looks like it's a little sloppy. The proton gun, as I mentioned in my last video, the end is not like the movie or the other figures actually. They did this bigger, stubbier end, which looks like it's meant to hold the weight of the proton effects that come with Winston. So, I mean, other than that, like the detailing is very nice. The fact that you can put it on and take it off the figure is pretty cool. The other two figures I have don't have that feature. You can't take off their proton packs. So then, of course, you get the Ecto goggles, which look pretty good. They're very minimal paint apps on these. Just a little bit of silver on the ends to show where the lenses are. There's no third strap. Usually on the Ecto goggles there's a third head strap that goes over top. But I like the simplicity of these. I don't think it really needs that. I mean, it's not film accurate, but it doesn't really matter too much for playability. Just a quick comparison here between the Hasbro ones, and these are actually the Diamond Select ones. They're a little bigger because they're 7-inch scale instead of 6-inch scale. But as you can see, Diamond Select has that third strap over the top of Ray's head. A little bit more paint on these ones than on the Hasbro ones. But again, as I mentioned in the last video, these are for a Diamond Select figure, which is a specialty store, comic book store figure. They cost a little bit more money, so they have, the ability to do these kind of more detailed stuff. And then, of course, we get the Vince Clortho Build-A-Figure leg. Again, the claws look good, the paint looks good. Won't really be that necessary until we get all these open and put the Build-A-Figure together, but still, looks pretty cool. Alright, let's take a look at Ray. So, in my last review, I gave the Peter Venkman figure a lot of grief for the likeness, because I just didn't really feel like it looked like Bill Murray. This sculpt definitely looks more like Dan Aykroyd, but something is still just a little off. Again, it looks enough like Ray that you know that this is supposed to be Ray. Like if all the heads came off and got misplaced, you'd be able to pick this one out as Ray. But for some reason, it's just not perfect. With this head technology they have now, you think that Hasbro would be able to come just a little closer when it comes to the likenesses, but, it is what it is. It's not bad. It'll look okay on the shelf. Just, it's not exactly perfect. So for my random celebrity comparison again, this figure looks like it's halfway between Dan Aykroyd and Paul Reiser from Aliens and Beverly Hills Cop. Tell me why I love you like I do. So a better likeness, but not a perfect likeness. You're getting closer, Hasbro. Okay, so this figure is standing at 5 3/4 inches tall, which puts him a little shorter than the Peter Venkman figure, which actually works for the scale because Dan Aykroyd is slightly smaller than Bill Murray. So, kudos, Hasbro. As I said with the last figure, the sculpting on this guy is fantastic. They did a great job with the wrinkles in the pants, the wrinkles in the sleeves of the jumpsuit. It looks great. They did, as much as they could to make it look screen accurate. It's pretty close. Got the hose coming up to his belt here. Got gizmo. Everything looks good. He actually has a little hook here on his belt that you can hook the Ecto goggles on. So that is a cool feature. I'm glad they put that in there. That was very nice. And also, this figure, you might think this is the same sculpt as the Peter Venkman figure. But I was noticing that on this figure, I have to move Peter's arm here a little bit so you can see. But the stomach on the Peter figure is just a little flatter. Like they kind of gave Ray a little bit of a paunch there, which actually makes sense because Ray was a little bit bigger than the other guys. So this is the only Ghostbusters line I've seen do a different body figure for one of the Ghostbusters. Usually they're all the same sculpt exactly, and then this one, they gave Ray just a little bit of a tummy, which, doesn't make him look fat, but it definitely makes him look different than the rest of the guys. And then another weird thing is that mine, for some reason, my figure here, if it'll focus, has like the paint beside his ear on his hair here is just like a little splotchy. He's got like some paint splotches on his ear. And the paint up here on his forehead is creeping off of his hair onto the skin. So, little quality control issues, nothing major. And again, like I said with Peter, they incorporated the elbow pads into the elbow sculpt. That really gives you a much better range of motion for this guy without the additional elbow pad hindering the joints. So, So, speaking of joints, why don't we just see how he bends? So, Ray has ankle rockers, side to side, so you can get that nice pivoting. His feet go that far down, it's pretty far. They go that far up. He doesn't have the pant legs in the way like Peter did to impede his motion, so that's helpful. Double jointed knees that go all the way up. Those look great. He's got the T-joint hips, so he can do the splits out to about that far. He can kick forward that much. He can kick back that much. He's got the ball joint in his waist, so he can get some tiltage. He gets some forward, backward. Again, they didn't do the diaphragm joint, which I'm very happy for, actually. His arms go out all the way to 90 degrees. He can spin them all the way around. He's got these double jointed elbows that get pretty close to coming all the way back up. So you can get him pulled his proton wand. And then again, the head is on a ball joint on a peg, so you get all the way around rotation. And then he can look down that far. He can look up not very far at all. That really, he really stops his head there. A little bit of side-to-side tiltage. So he has pretty much middle-aged man articulation. If I had an action figure, this is pretty much the articulation that I would have. So it looks pretty good. I like the way it looks. Let's do a couple comparisons. Okay, so here's the Hasbro Plasma Series version with the Mattel Matty Collector Series version. And right off the bat, I can see that the Mattel version's a little taller, but the Hasbro version definitely improved on the face sculpt. I never really appreciated that Mattel face sculpt. It kind of looks like Ray's face is pinched together in the middle. The Hasbro version definitely improves on that. Now, the Mattel version has a little bit more screen-accurate proton pack. The Neutrona one's more screen-accurate with the red wire and the tip. And then also, like I said, all the Ghostbusters bodies for the Mattel series are exactly the same. And even against this one, you can see that it looks like Ray's a little heavier. So Hasbro did a really good job on that. I really appreciate that. It looks great. And here's a look at the Hasbro version with the Diamond Select version. So Diamond Select scale is a little different. They have a 7-inch scale, so obviously he's a little taller than the Hasbro version. The facial sculpt, I always thought that the Diamond Select version did a pretty good job of capturing Dan Aykroyd. So I actually think it might be a little better than the Hasbro version. And here's the Hasbro version with the Peter Venkman from the same line, and they look great together. They scale together very well, and like I said, it's very neat that Ray looks a little heavier than Peter. I will say that Ray has the same problem that Peter has in this line, is that both of his hands are those weird pistol grip hands instead of just regular grasping hands, but once you get their hands on the Neutrona ones, it looks okay. It doesn't really noticeable, but, it's there. And just for fun, here's Ray with a couple of other Ghostbusters Ray Stantz figures I happen to have laying around.
Trophy, trash, or toy box.
So I will say that this guy is a step up from the Mattel figure for sure. But again, this is going to be another one for me that goes in the toy box. The likeness is just not quite there. The articulation's great. There are not very many paint apps, and the ones that are there, some of them are pretty sloppy. So it's getting better. You're getting closer, Hasbro.
Daddy J's Toy Box presents Low Budget Action Figure Theater. Venkman! Disgusting blob. I'm gonna have to hold him myself.
So that's my review of the Hasbro Plasma Series Ray Stantz action figure. If you don't already have Ray in your collection, this is a perfect addition. The articulation's great. The facial likeness is okay. It looks enough like Dan Aykroyd that if I were him, I'd be very happy to have this figure of me. He's about $20 at anywhere you buy action figures, Walmart, Target, any of the online retailers. So go ahead and pick him up. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know if there was something I missed. Tell me about a celebrity experience you had, whether it was great or a total disaster. And until next time, I'll see you in the toy aisle. Right, but you're a publicist. You could at least... Hello? Hello? Oh, Tucker!